Welcome, Martin, to Metalarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about your band, Martin. The name has been a little complicated. Martin Rubashov. Martin
Rubashov
Rubashov.
is that's correct, man. That's correct.
Okay, and this, I think this is your new album, members of the Green Flocks. So, starting with this kind of matter, can you present to the band, to our readers, this about this new album, everything about the band? No?
Mm, Mostly the band is actually it's always written by myself, and I tend to invite some of my friends doing some additional vocals, or maybe I have some. I have a couple of friends that I'm always working with. Who the guy who mixes the album? He usually plays some of the bass lines and all that. And then I have on this specifically on this album, I have a new guy called Sverker. Funny name in Swedish, but he's a very good guy on playing keyboard and pianos and all that. So I was thinking about using him a lot more, and I did, and he plays on almost every songs actually, and I kept all his recordings almost on every songs, and then just to make a different album for once, especially for me, since I've been this is my fourth album, so it's been developing in a good way with some people say it's like a progressive rock acoustic album, and sometimes always I don't know if it's diversity in some way, but I think it's the band is myself, and I'm asking my friends to join me, and they almost say yes, so that's a good thing. So but I'm very satisfied with the Green Flocks actually. Yeah.
Great, great. So you said that the band had played like something progressive rock, acoustic
Mm,
rock, this kind of stuff. And when I hear these members of the Green Flocks, I feel that thing. So I feel
mm,
that the progressive rock, some folk elements like Celtic, some like
yeah.
Celtic elements into there. So the next question is why usually the progressive rock is comfortably mixed with the folk elements around the world. If you see Jethro Tull
Mm,
do that in the 60s with
yeah.
a little folk there, and other bands too. It's
Mm,
mostly of the bands mix this kind of style, folk with rock progressive. It's very attached.
yeah. True. And I think also because you're totally right, Javier. I think that because what I've been listening to when I was younger, I was a very metal guy. When I played, I had a doom metal bands for years, and I did this goth metal stuff, and even this try to blend the Middle Eastern kind of what Zeppelin did from time to time. I I um I tune my guitar in different tunings. I use a lot of instruments from around the world to get a different kind of not specifically a tuning, but also get a special taste of music. And I think that that's what progressive rock also is about. Because I mean, if you take a look at the old Genesis stuff, the early Dream Theater stuff, or I mean, I'm Swedish. We have the Meshuggah guys here, and I mean even the Opeth guys. So I think it's and if you listen to them, you can always get back to the roots, and the roots are always the same. If you know what I mean. I think that's a progressive thing, and to be a progressive rock musician is to be wide open. I think to listen to a lot of stuff. If you, for example, take Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree, he can do whatever he likes, and that's also a kind of a progressive rock thing. So I mean, from going to that old, for being an old metal guy, to I choose to be more like an acoustic guy. because I've always written my songs from an acoustic guitar. So I think that's um, and I also had this heart from this early 70s rock bands or progressive rock bands. So I think it's just a common sense for me doing like that. I don't know why, but I think that's what I do. I don't think I normally don't think about what kind of music I should write. So maybe that's also a progressive rock thing. I don't know really, but maybe I don't know. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Brazil when I was younger in South America, and I even had those kind of berimbau, the instruments that I know that Sepultura used them in. I think on the Roots Brother Roots album, and I'm actually thinking about bringing more of the kind of rootsy stuff back. Actually, also in a progressive way, maybe. We'll see what happens though.
Okay. So, other matter that you said in your last answers is about you start as a metalhead. You told that. So,
Mm,
and according to this, I saw a lot of bands that start with this doom metal stuff like Catatonia, like
mm.
Opeth in some way. Now in Morning Two, this kind of stuff. It starts with this vibe with doom metal. But according to the past continual new albums, new stuff, all the bands that's super weird. All bands change the sound with progressive rock, progressive metal. All bands change the sound to progressive, especially
Mm,
Opeth. Opeth's more than
mm,
now progressive rocks from the 70s. Cataton is like that. It's progressive rock, some with metal parts. And your new albums too. Member of the Green Flocks has metal parts, have rock parts, this kind of stuff.
mm.
So why usually the artists or the musicians from doom metal era change the sound to something more progressive?
I think that's because of the well. If you take me for example, I don't even actually, to be honest, I don't really care about if people think they know that I'm from the metal world from my start. But my album is very acoustic, and for if you play it for some metalheads, they would say it's what the fuck is this? This is too soft for me. But I'm fine with that. But I know that I'm a good friend with the specifically Jonas from Catatonia, and I also know Mikael Åkerfeldt from Opeth, and I know that. I mean, I think that you're getting older, man, and I think that as older you get, the more you tend to go back to the roots. I think because when I was 18, or when I was 20, or even 25, I mean, I down tuned my guitars very low. I had all the distortion pedals, but as soon as I got older, somehow discovered what that also came from, and that's from the roots from, for example, progressive, or I mean, even the Beatles, man. They influence so many guys that you don't even think about. So I think that a lot of guys who start in the younger days as a band, they start out as a death metal band, or as a thrash metal band, a doom metal band. But as soon as they get older, they start to listen to your dad's albums, and they figure it out how it's all connected. I think, and that's maybe the answer to your question. And some guys, for example, if you take Slayer, or some other Megadeth or Metallica, they do. I wouldn't say that they're doing the kind of same album all the time, but some are that really, they know their style and they're doing their style. But some guys do not tend to maybe develop themselves in a way, not in a wrong way or in a good way, but they have their line and they're doing their stuff. But I think that the most of them, as you mentioned, those bands, they've always listened to this kind of old 60s or 70s rock, maybe,
Yeah, yeah,
perhaps. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, well, now we will talk a little bit over this, well, or your old album, especially from this member of the Green Flocks. And
Mm,
you said that you are the only member from this band. Now you
mm,
use other musics to record the band, to record your lines, to record your
mm,
inspirations. You invite Jonas Recke from Catatone from this new album. So when you compose new things, and do you let the musician put their talent, or
mm.
perhaps they follow your ideas as you did in your demos and your ideas, or perhaps something in some parts of the recording process, something happens that perhaps Jones from Catatonic do much better the lines that you imagine.
Mm. Um, for example, because I write all the music and all the lyrics and mostly as well on this album the arrangements. But a friend of mine, his name is Daniel, and he might tell me that we should use some piano on this song, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we will try it out, and then it works all the time because he's always right. But for Jonas, for example, I was because he used to spend his summers when he was younger in my hometown. So I just had this song, "The Lights of July," and I was thinking that I wanted someone else to sing a verse with me because that song is about someone playing hide and seek in the mountains and getting delusional in one way, and he's actually chasing himself. So I want to just a two take on that song, and then I love Jonas and the way he sings. I think he sings in a very cool way because he has his own style. So I was actually calling him and I just asked him, take a listen to this song, and I want you to do the second verse with me and also the chorus and the bridge and all that. And he was like, yeah, no way, no problem, and there's no question at all. And I was actually I knew that he was going to do it his way, and I wanted him to do it his way. He doesn't sing exactly as me, but he's doing it his own way. And if I invite someone in my songs, I want them to feel free in one way to do their own stuff the way they hear my songs. And I think he did it 100%. There was no question about that actually. So I tend to invite them and just like, what do you hear? And because I'm hearing this, and feel free to do your stuff. And if they are with me, it's gonna be perfect. So on this album, I think that everyone is doing 110. It's I'm very pleased actually, especially with Jonas as well, because it's I like the way he sings, and I know that his roots are from up north of Sweden, where I am from. So it's a bit of that as well, if you know what I mean.
Okay, okay, nice to hear that. So, relating the last questions when with the new album, I saw that you use or that you put into the name Green Flux, green the color. Then I saw your cover art, the cover art with a heart, with the
Mm.
with the woods. With the woods into the heart, I saw a lot of green varieties of this color. So for you, what exactly means for you the green color?
The green color for me is the forest and the nature. I've been wandering around a lot when I was younger, especially in my teenagers in the big woods of Sweden, and that those walks made me think, I guess, and made me grow. And for I mean, my two last albums, even the previous one, was very much into the forest, and the Green Flocks is 100%. It's about trees, it's the soil, it's the waters and the mountains and all that. And I think it's the green color is also it's a symbol for growing, I think. And it's the nature is been that's the real thing for me. That's the only thing that grows, sort of. And it's the one thing that I mean, for me to walk in a big wood in the forest, it makes you feel small, and I think that's quite necessary for the human these days to. I mean, you can be a sailor man out in the ocean and to be alone on a boat, and you will definitely totally feel that you're the only person alive on Earth. So, and I have the same feeling when I'm walking the woods. I think it's quiet and it's gives you inspiration. The trees are having their own lives. The birds are there, and the grass is growing. If you know what I mean. So I think green is green is a perfect color for everybody, actually.
Mm, okay, okay, okay. So now we will talk about some forms with some abstract subject. Perhaps do you
Mm,
hear about the synesthesia matter? When a people listen the music, they see colors, they'll taste flavors, and they'll smell others.
mm,
So
mm.
into this matter, how what kind of colors, what kind of odors, what kind of smells that the listeners will find in these members of the green flocks according to you?
I think a friend told me actually once that all the colors of the nature are blending together, and no color is wrong. So I mean, when the trees, especially if I don't know if how you have it, but I mean, up here in Scandinavia, every September, October, the leaves in the forest get yellow, they get brown, they're falling, and then you have the snow, and everything is dead. And so I mean, you can mix almost every color, but I think that I think that people will have the color green in their mind, and even a bit of mind, a muddy touch, like
Okay.
a little bit wet and a little bit dirty, but also windy and sometimes pitch black, like a night forest with the darker greener colors in your head. Probably that's what I have actually. I don't have the bright lights, um, but they can be there sometimes. But I think the a darker touch of green, if you know what I mean, Javier. I think that's the color people might get.
Okay, okay, okay. So now I'm hearing a lot of your connection with the woods, with the
Mm,
nature, especially all the Mother Earth, no? With all planet. So
yeah.
if you try to relate the seasons like the summer, like spring, like autumn, and like
Mm,
winter. So for you, which are the best seasons to compose a new songs from Martin for your band?
mm,
Because as your background told me, perhaps especially if I try to relay your answers, for me your best seasons to record or to compose or to write new music is is the winter season and the spring season, because autumn is more dry
mm,
and with summer it's too hot.
mm. I think if you should ask me that question a few years ago, I would say summer. Summer nights in
Okay.
Sweden are marvelous. I have a summer house up north, totally isolated in the woods, and I have a little lake where I used to go,
Okay.
and the sun almost never goes down, and it's beautiful. The summer nights in Sweden are I love it. I've been traveling around a lot in the world, but as soon as it gets the summertime, I wouldn't leave Sweden for anything, especially the summer nights. But I think on this album also, I love the spring because everything is like coming back to life in one way, and I also like the autumns because I like the color and I like it that it gets a little bit chilly, and it's 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 mystic in a way. But I think that late summer, I would say. The winters here in Sweden can get very cold, and I mean it's dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So um, the winter is the time when I usually record my stuff because when winter comes, all my songs are ready for like I hit the studio, and I just like I
Mm.
just work at winter mostly, but I write a lot of stuff during spring, summer, especially in my summer house and in the beginning of the fall, actually.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, we are very close to end this interview, and
Mm,
I usually ask about other matters into the music world, because
mm,
this new music world changes very fast with the digital platforms,
mm,
but at the same time it's something counterproductive that the many people, the many youngers collect vinyl, connect tapes, this kind of stuff. So it's starting with this background. The first question goes to the what do you think about the digital platforms nowadays? Because now the people talk now the people with the digital with Tidal, Spotify, iTunes, this kind of stuff, just hear one, two, three, or maximum four songs in an album, and
mm.
they don't listen the rest of the album.
Yeah.
So for you, why the albums doesn't have the same impact compared to the 70s, 80s, and 90s? And
Mm,
what does band needs to do to encourage or to motivate the listeners to listen all songs in an album?
mm. That's a good question, actually. I am myself. I am a vinyl hoarder. I wouldn't say hoarder, but I buy a lot of vinyl these days, and I still have my vinyls when I was younger, and I still have my CDs, but I don't listen to CDs. But the vinyls are very important to me, and it's for as an artist, I think it's because I've been asking myself this question several times. Is it necessary to do a full-length album, or should I do like an EP with 5 songs, and then people listen to 5 songs, or should I do an album with 10 songs and people are might listen to 5 or 6 or 7 songs? You know what I mean? But I think that I think as an artist, I think you have to build your own kind of fan base, and to get them your followers. Get me right here, but to get your followers in on the right track, because if they do like you, really do like you, they will listen to older stuff. But if you have what kind of like 1 or 2 hits, then they are not like a real follower, if you know what I mean. So I think for bands to get out there and even to get heard and all that, play along, play, gig on, and I think that you should, if you want to do an album, do an album. I mean, because everybody, specifically these days, everyone is occupied with Facebook or Instagram. You have to put up pictures of yourself all the time, and to get followers and all that. I mean, some of my inspirational musicians, they have like 500 or 600 followers, not much, but they do their stuff and they put out their albums in like 200 X's, and that's, I love that. And I don't know if it's going to survive or not, but I think it's necessary to if you're going to build some kind of fan base, do your shit and believe in it. Otherwise, it's gonna be, you're gonna have 1, 2 songs that people listen to, and the rest is. And I think that that's important to you as well. If you're gonna do it, I mean, for an album, you have a start and you have a finish. And if you put 1 song out 1 year, and 1 song out the other year, and that's all you got. I mean, then you don't have the from start to finish. And I think that's. I hope that people will get back to that too. It's like reading a book, man. I think you start at page one and you end up in the last page, and then you got the whole story. I think that's quite necessary, and I hope that people will get back to that. Hopefully, but I also know that some bands or some artists, they just want to have this kind of one hit wonder stuff, and they want to be heard, and that's the most important thing for them, just to be heard. That's all. But I think if you're really into it, do your shit and do an album, do 8 songs, do 10 songs, and if you have something to say, just say it. I think that's quite necessary, actually.
Mhm. Great, 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 great. If we try to, if you embark in a new tour with Martin Rubashov,
Mm,
so well, how do you manage the musicians? Perhaps if you will have a tour here in Latin America,
mm,
you hire persons from here, or you bring
mm.
your people to do a tour.
I would do because I've been having a lot of gigs, and sometimes I play with a trio, actually, with a drummer and one guy on bass guitar, and sometimes I play actually by myself, and I have a lot of guitar pedals with me, doing a lot of sounds, and I do it very like dramatic in one way. So I would, I don't know if I should call up some people from Brazil that I know, but that would be very rhythmic, I guess. So and maybe some drimbos from the Sepultura camp. But I think that if I should do Latin America or South America, I would do it on a trio. I think with my pedals, and I would make sounds because I want to my music on a vinyl or on Spotify or whatever. That shouldn't be the same as live. Live is something different for me. Because I mean, when I'm in the studio, I'm doing my recording my stuff. I could put on layers and layers, and I can do my singing in one way, and I can have like a chorus with like 8 voices or something. But when live, it's only me. But it's gonna be it's very dramatic as well, actually. So I don't know, man. A trio or by myself, that would be the answer, I think.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, Martin, the sad times arrived at this interview. I hope you
Mm,
enjoyed this one as I did, and thank you very much for your time. Your last album is a
thank you.
great one. Is
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate this new one. And perhaps do you have something to add to your Latin American fans and Metalerum readers?
Yeah, I think that I love the rock and metal scene, and also I'm so much into music, man, and I hope that people dig music, and just keep on buying your music and support the bands that you love and all that, because that's the only way that you might see your bands live, for example. And I do it as myself. I have a lot of bands that I love, and they never come to Sweden, never, because it's we're too far up north. I've never seen them live, and it's like, but I'm gonna stick to them. So all your readers out there, and just thank you for listening to my music, and keep on supporting your bands. That's the main thing, I guess.